agriculture is a value chain activity. You have input suppliers, you have production, you have the grading, storage, you have marketing, you have primary processing, you have processing. So, and then before it gets to the final consumer. So it's a chain where we have been concentrating on the initial aspect of the chain, which is the production. So what has happened, because the other part of the chains have been ignored, we've had a lot of post-harvest losses because there were no linkages between the producers and the final markets. That is not how agriculture was brought up, because the colonialists were just, like I said, interested in exporting our raw crops. So what we are saying now is that, look, let's add value to our crops. For example, there is a lot of noise being made about the groundnut pyramid. For me, groundnut pyramid is a double-edged sword. Of course, it's an advantage because of the production. But if you are looking at the pyramid, that means that we are just producing and storing and exporting. Okay? If we were producing and processing, there will be no time to build up the pyramid. You see, because the value chain will just take care of it. You produce the groundnuts, you clean it up, you shell it, storage, you process, get your groundnut oil, get the byproducts, So because the downstream part of the chain we are not taking care of, usually there is a clog. And what happens is that if the market cannot pull off the primary production immediately, you will have a glut. And when you have a glut, the prices crash. And when the prices crash, the farmers lose money because you don't have marketing corporations. You don't have guaranteed prices. So we were producing but losing 40% of our production. The conclusion is that, look, for us, let's look at the whole value chain. Let's not just be exporting primary commodities. That's the whole purpose. Let's add value to the primary commodities so that we can process them and into products that will substitute local importation. We can process them into products that we can even export. Why should we be exporting cocoa? Wouldn't it be better for us to be exporting chocolate, for example? So that's what we are talking about, opening up the chain and making investments in the various part of the chain. For processing, for storage, you have to make investments in silos and similar products. Refrigeration, depending on the type of crop. You need to make investments in processing. You need to make investments in the marketing corporation so that they can be sufficiently equipped to absorb the excess production from the farmers and sell to the market. As far as infrastructure is concerned, you have to invest in irrigation facilities so that instead of having a rain-fed agriculture, you have irrigation. You have to invest in dams. So a lot of things come into the value chain, and it's very important that the value chain is opened up. We have various youth-friendly schemes. As I said earlier, it is important that we interest our youth in agriculture. And the kind of agriculture that the youth are going to do is interested in is going to be different from the kind of agriculture our parents did. So we are mindful of that. First, we have our SME schemes, which is a smallholder farmer scheme, which we've lowered the entry level for that because we recognize that youth may not have the resources to provide elaborate security and so on. For those kind of loans, all we require is a guarantee from a reputable individual in the community, and for the youth to be part of a group, and for the group to have some relationship with the bank so that we can determine their capacity. So on that scheme, youth can take up to 250,000 And as they repay the loans, the amounts will increase. In addition to that, we do have specific programs that are targeted to the youth that we do with some of the relevant agencies. For example, we have a scheme that we do with NDDC in the Niger Delta, which is targeted at Niger Delta youth. We have several of those throughout the country where the schemes are targeted specifically at the youth. But part of what we're also planning to do, because youth are also hooked on technology. So part of our mobile banking technology is to use mobile phones and ATMs and POSs as the mode for managing and disbursing our loans. Those are going to come on stream. As for women, women, especially in Africa, form the bulk of the farming population. They are very, very industrious, and they are very important as far as financing is concerned. And we actually need to include women, to facilitate financial inclusion for women. Because by the time you facilitate, you economically empower a woman, you are empowering a whole family. We have a fund, which is a Women's Fund for Economic Empowerment. It's a revolving fund that we use to disburse loan for women. That's a targeted project that we have for women. And then in addition to that, even from our general pool of lending, about 27% of our loanees, of our clients, are also women. So with that aspect, we support them. For the larger investors, we support their outgrower systems because of our focus on the. Sometimes we also give investment loans, by the way, for production, for processing, and so on. But in view of our focus, we support their outgrower system. So we lend monies to the outgrowers that feed their factories and their plants. So that is a way that we support investors. Now, this is a very critical function because of the nature of the land tenure system in this country. It is difficult for a commercial enterprise or investor to come in and get thousands of hectares of land. So what we encourage is for them to form a nucleus farm and then, get outgrowers around their farm from whom they can now sweep the inputs in that manner. And of course, technology, improved seeding, and so on will pass from the what we call the aggregator to the small farmers. And on the investment side also, we also help. We've had cases where we have facilitated capital importation for large-scale farmers and so on and so forth. So, and we also provide consultants because we have deep knowledge of the environment and the local dynamics. So a lot of the big investors that are coming usually come to us so that we can give them advice as to, and also facilitate collaborations with the local investors. Sometimes they are governments and so on. So those are the areas that those are the areas in which we support the agri-business in this country. When you finance on the basis of value chain, that is the only way you can promote sustainability in agricultural production. You need value chain financing so that the farmers can be better off, because farmers need an incentive to continue to invest. So if you don't have value chain financing, you will not be able to produce value-added products for the market, because the margins are better when you add value. So it will make our agricultural sector more efficient. It will give farmers better prices. They will get better margins, and they will therefore be able to they will be incentivized to produce more. So it's a circle.
For 4 decades, we at Bank of Agriculture have been helping our customers grow their businesses, fight poverty, and develop their communities. And now we are transforming to serve you even better.
If you are engaged in agriculture or small and medium-scale enterprise, you too can take advantage of our impressive range of financial products and services.
It's a new season indeed at Bank of Agriculture, Nigeria's leading development bank. Visit any of our branches around Nigeria today for more information.
Bank of Agriculture, Head Office, number 1 Yakubu Gowon Way, Kaduna. Central Office, Independence Way, Central Business District, Abuja. Zonal offices in each geopolitical zone and branches throughout Nigeria.
Bank of Agriculture, improving lives, growing communities.